So last time we saw how to see and view data in Fusion Anywhere. This time it's mostly the training session is going to be about how we edit data, how we create lots, arrivals, deaths, shipments, movements, bunk calls, and adding pen inputs, adjusting yardage, pen checking, pulling animal out, like that. One thing that I wanted to show is we have shortcuts for these as well. If you wanted to create a lot, you can go to cattle and click the add lot button. You can also use quick add right up here, and you can go to add lot, add arrival, any of the things. And if you are using a mobile view, you can just click this hamburger icon on the top right corner and you have the quick add button here, and you can go to add lot from this as well. The add lot in here is pretty much same as how it is in Fusion. Instead of tabs, we have sections here. Let's say I'm creating a lot with LH1. You choose the cattle type, any default sex that the cattle is coming in, default breed, default color, who the buyer is, the originating herd of the cattle, and these are the 5 custom labels. And if you're overriding weight class, then you can just check this and add the dollar amount here. The next section is growth model and projected slaughter. You can select the growth model from the drop down over here, and these values are populated by default. If you change the type of animal sex, let's say I change it to female, then they get updated on their own. The units are at the end of the input box on the right hand side. If you edit these values, they won't be updated anymore. So if you want the default values coming up, even with the growth potential score, they change. You will notice that mature weight is changing, but target weight is not. It's because I edited this value. So if you want it to keep changing, just let it be, and then it will keep changing based on your selection. And then you can choose a target date. You can use the date picker for that as well. And there's base dressing percent. Each night, the calculated slaughter date will be recalculated. We also state this in the note down here. The next section is the ownership. We must always have at least one ownership, otherwise you won't be able to create a lot. You can add more owners using the plus button here. If you, by accident, create any extra rows, you can click multiple rows and then just delete them. And we also have make 100% button. So if you select this row, let's say the ownership value here is 10, and then you click on make 100%, the ownership value updates on its own. And you can just select a contact from the ownership. You add the interest rate, the owner's equity, and an ownership note here. The yardage, it's the same as in ownership. We should always have at least one yardage. And we can add more rows. You can delete multiple rows as well. Let's say the yardage that I'm adding is switch. In the other items, there's no rule as to we must always have one. But there is one note that we should keep in mind, that other items must be dated during the time the slot was open, or they will not be included in billing and closeout information. And then let's say we add some description, the tax amount and non-tax amount for this. And then we can always take that out as well. And then we can create a lot note. The pre-Fusion information is pretty much the same as in Fusion. If you were having this lot before you moved to Fusion, Then you can open this section and fill in this data. If you check this box, you'll be able to enter in this data. If you move, this slot was created before you moved into Fusion, that's when you would use this. Let's say you had 200 animals before you moved in, but 2 were dead. Then you can just do like this. You would do total death count 2 and total in count as 198. We say the same in this paragraph over here, that if the lot existed in your feedlot before you started using Fusion, generate a closeout report in your old system and then enter the information above. It should be below, below current as of the transition date. If you do this, then when you close the lot in Fusion, all this information will be available for you during closeout. Otherwise, it won't be recorded. And if you also closed this lot before you transition to Fusion, you can just add that here. It helps when it's always at the same time the transition was with the current state of the cattle. Whatever that is, you include that data here. That's when it's going to be the most accurate. And these are all the fields like total sales amount, total head days, all of that, and you can just create a lot. Do you have any questions in this? Okay, I will move on to adding arrivals. Again, we can go to arrivals and then click add arrivals, or we can just go to arrivals using the plus button over here. The adding arrivals is same as creating in cohort infusion. You can do identifier. The arrival date is not editable, but the time is. And then you can change the initial pen. The initial pen, you will see that in the drop down, we have the lot name and the head. Let's say I select this one as the initial pen. And then I see the lots in that. The initial pen is not changeable once we save it. So it's always best to select the one that we need. And then we can do manifest number, brand release, the buyer contact, source, originating herd, and trucking contact in the tracking section. And then in the cattle section, let's say we have 120 and the gross weight is 100,000. We can also use the calculator button here so that it calculates on its own, and it does the same for the gross weight and shrinkage as well. And you'll see that we have information per pound per head on the right hand side for gross weight and net weight. We have pay weight, weight status. We have the price over here and the price status, whether it's pending or final, the invoicing, and the note, and then we can just create the arrival. Do you have any questions in this? It's pretty much the same as in how we're creating the in cohort infusion. Okay, I will give it to you, Ben.
Awesome. So I am just going to create this arrival here, just to show you, how, Fusion Anywhere communicates with Fusion itself. So if I go ahead and save this, it's just yelling at me because the pen's only supposed to be one lot, but there's two. So if I go ahead and save that arrival, we can get to our arrival synopsis. And if we go into Fusion here and look at our in cohorts, we can see our new arrivals being added in here as of today. So real-time information, very, very, very good. Jumping down to deaths again, add the button. Let's click the plus button at the top, whatever you guys prefer. very similar in the way that we have it set up in Fusion, other than we have this quick links button at the top here. Um, so animal linking, same as in Fusion. We're, trying to make it a lot easier for people to be able to find these animals in particular. So if I enter in my partial RFID number here, it's going to bring me up a list of RFIDs that, share these characteristics. You can put your lot sit tag in, your management tags, whatever other visual identifiers you have. Select what animal you want to link. And if we link that, now we can go through our normal process here of adding your pens, numbers, counts, your death causes, if there was a vet postmortem done, and any other inputs set with that death as well. I'm not going to save this one because they're going to keep using this animal. So if we go over to our shipments and we do an add shipment, you'll notice that this is a little bit different than what it is in Fusion. Um, like with the alcohols, normally it pops up and says, what is this entity? What pen are they from? What lot are they from? We're not going to have that pop up right away. So we can go through and choose, yeah, we want animals from pen one to be gone. Here's all of our lots in pen one. Okay, let's choose this lot, go through the same steps as before, put in all of your additional information that you need there, and then being able to save that as well. And again, you'll see at the top there is that link animals button to be able to link these animals. If you hit the gear icon, we can try the auto linking or linking by the job batch itself, or we can view all the animals in whatever pen we have selected. I didn't choose a good pen. Obviously, there's only 2 tags associated with this one. Um, but the premise is still the same as it is in Fusion. We've just tried to make linking animals a little bit easier for those people. So that is our shipments there. Um, On to movements. Again, movements very much the same as in Fusion. Link animals button at the top there. You're going to choose what pen, what lot, if we're um, moving just, certain amount of animals out of a certain lot. If we're moving the whole pen, we can move the whole pen. Choosing what pen they're going to and the count. We got the same set to the pen as a home pen, and then at the bottom here you can see that we have the ability to move that B percentage as well, just like in Fusion. Again, this will update in real time in Fusion as well. Jumping over to our pen inputs. Shri, I'll let you do this one.
Okay. Okay. So adding pen inputs, you can just input the date here and then choose an input type. Let's say we choose float hole, and then the default value and the nudge value for adding the pen input. And then when we submit this form, we'll be taken to this page, and we can increase the nudge value here or decrease it. And then when we record it, if it flashes green, it means it got recorded. Otherwise, it will flash red. We can also see the value that's updated here. And this is the pen name. You can see all the list of records that's for the float hole in this page. And when we go to adjust yardage, this is basically for editing all the lots yardage in one go. So you can select the date, the yardage amount, the tax rate, and then just hit find. And then when all the lots come up, you can just select all, or you can select the ones that you just want to change and then click save. And that will edit the yardage for all of them.
So yeah, so basically it's just a bulk update for your yardages there.
Yeah.
Sweet deal. Continuing on, we have our bunk calls window. It's a little bit different than how it looks in Fusion. So we have a list of our pens here just on this main window itself. We can see how many calls have been done currently throughout the day, what pen, if there's feeding protocol, what step they're on, ration, the bunk call pounds per head, and then the progression of feed. If we want to adjust a bunk call, we simply click on whichever row we want to change. It's going to bring up our bunk call window here. It's going to look very similar to how it does in Fusion itself. And we can change whatever information we need to do here as well. We can choose a bunk score, which is going to update our bunk call. We can nudge it up, nudge it down, or even enter in a different number altogether. Once we hit accept, that is going to adjust that bunk call as of that moment. If we scroll down a little bit, we have our bunk call graph and then our bunk call indicators. And we can see here that, we can see all the information as of today so far. And yesterday, if we click on a different, that doesn't work like it used to. Does it not go back to the days canon?
No,
Oh,
you need to scroll down further if you want to see that.
all the historical data. Sorry. Yes. So you can't click on the day here, and it's not going to update this bunk call line like it does in the truck. But down at the bottom here, we can view this historical indicators, and this is going to give us all of that historical feed information. And it is a lot. And then again, scroll across to see all that information there. So once you're good with these bunk calls, you can hit accept. It's going to save that. You can either hit cancel and go back to the main screen, or hit any one of these arrows to go up or down. We also have the option buttons here that's going to show, the actual values or show suggested values. Didn't do anything there for me. Probably not doing that right. But that bunk calls are basically the same in the premise of what it is in Fusion itself. Jumping over to the animals, we have this pen checking option. As you can see here, it looks very similar to the quick link in for the deaths and the shipments. We can enter in a partial RFID or any of these other information or pens, find these animals itself. We can select the animal that we want. We're going to pull up that whole animal synopsis, all of that animal's individual information, just like Fusion. But at the top here, you'll notice that we have this pull animal button. So if this animal does look like it's sick, it needs to be pulled, we can click that, and it's going to pull up this window here. We can choose a diagnosis, where that animal is pulled from, and then we can write any additional notes that may be useful for the guys in the chute. So when we hit this pull button, and that animal does get run through the chute, they'll notice a little cowboy icon in Fusion. I can show that here actually. Sorry, I'll turn all that off. So if we go down to our treat, you can see this little cowboy icon here. And if we click on that, we can see, okay, this is the information that the cowboys have given to this animal based on what they put into that box there. So then we can make an informed decision on what kind of treatment we want to do. So we can do BRD, and then you know how all of this works. Jumping back into Fusion here. So that is the breakdown of everything that we can add into Fusion, all that information and how it connects back. Do you have any questions, concerns, anything that we want to go over again?
No, that looks good. Sorry, I got the pull animal, but the just how you got to that where you are, like the event animal synopsis.
Yep. So
And
how I got here, so back to this
oh,
pen
just pen
checking.
checking. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Just enter the RFID, find the animal, and then when you click on that individual animal, it will pull
Okay.
up all of its information. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And sometimes in pen checking, we're just showing the first 20 animals. So you might have to refine your search if the animal doesn't come up in the table.
Yeah, so if we go back in here and type in 124,
Yeah.
you know, every single animal, all the Canadian animals start with 124, so you can see that it's going to give us this warning right at the top here and ask for that refining there. And we can do that. We can change the search criteria by clicking here and then starting again. So we can, you know, choose N1, type in our 124, find it, and now we've narrowed down that search. So we try to make it as easy as possible so, you know, guys in the pens themselves can just look up animal information on their phones rather easily without having to bring the animal all the way back inside, scan it, and then be able to view its information, or call anybody in the office and ask for that information as well. Awesome. Any other questions, Cannon?
I don't have any other questions.
All righty. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll bid you adieu and hope you have a good rest of your day.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
You guys.